Testing, testing, testing. JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. April 15th, 2024, tax day. Markets have been bouncing around here. Futures look great overnight, looked pretty good this morning, and then about 10 o'clock, we just sold off from 515 on a SPY all the way down to, hang on, let me get this off so it doesn't keep beeping. All the way down to 512, then 511, broke through 511. Just looks like we found support around 1115 or so, and bouncing. So we'll have to see how things play out. Last Friday was rough. So we had the CPI data, big sell-off on Wednesday, then a reversal on Thursday with the PPI data coming in the reverse of the CPI. And then Friday, it just seemed like it was a culmination of the geopolitical tensions, I guess people, more talk and from banks and analysts saying that they're ratcheting back their expectations for rate cuts, things like that. So interesting stuff. It just stinks when you're in calls, obviously. So I went and traded. I was looking at CrowdStrike, Avago. I'll continue looking for opportunities to hedge, especially if we start breaking some areas. And we're right here at 512.50. Well, 512.54. That's been a key spot for me the last couple of weeks. And you start looking at the 50-day moving average on a SPY is 509.20. Is that right? I guess that's right. Let's see. Yeah. So we held that. I just don't want to see that break. Then I think 504.50, and then probably not a good thing. But markets go up, markets go down. Second week in a row for the S&P to the downside. So is this consolidation before the next leg, or was it a topping process? And we're going to have a 5-10% pullback. I guess we'll find out in a couple weeks. We have earnings this week: Intuitive Surgical, Netflix, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Johnson & Johnson. I'm trying to think of some of the other names. I'll talk about Netflix in a second. But, I put it on in the chat room over the weekend. We've seen these geopolitical tensions before. It seems like every time there's some kind of action over the weekend, the last one in recent memory was when the Russia revolt, right? You had, what's his name? I forget the guy's name, but it was a Saturday, and he's revolting. He's heading towards, Russia capital. Everybody's like, oh, we're going to open limit down. Gold's going to go nuts. And then it was nothing, right? We had that situation too. It was the National Guard leader. I forget what his name was for Iran. The U.S. struck him with a drone or what have you in his car. Everybody thought that was it. And then you had Iran retaliate with some missiles into Iraq at some U.S. bases, which fell from their targets or came close. And again, nothing with that. And then it's Iran last week. It's pretty much like scripted. It's like they talked to their contacts in the different countries saying, we're going to send drones over there. Hopefully they shoot them down, and it could just be a sign we all save face. I don't know, but that's what it looked like to me. So I posted that in the chat room before, finally Iran came out with comments saying we are done as long as Israel doesn't escalate this and attack them, what have you. So, and the Iron Dome played out well. So we'll have to see how all these things play out. I hate. I'm not. You don't want to see anybody lose their lives or things like that. So thankfully, it's hopefully these tensions kind of ease. Maybe it brings people to the table and go from there. So that's the markets. So earnings. I think Fed Chair Powell speaks, but it's I think it's in Canada. I have to see, but it's not really going to talk about the economy. I think that's Wednesday in the afternoon. We had retail sales this morning coming in stronger than expectations. The economy keeps going. So all those things you would think, as I keep saying, as if inflation stays flat and starts heading down, we start getting these cuts. It's just like the economy is going to do even better. Markets should be higher, but hasn't been playing out the last couple of weeks. So we'll have to see how how this week goes. Maybe we find some support. Hopefully 512.50 today. Start moving higher into the 520s again. If not, then I'll start looking possibly for some hedge positions, especially in the chip names or the cloud space. And MDB was a name I was watching Friday. An insane amount of options went through at the 370 strike. I think it was like 6,000 contracts. And the stock went all the way up to 359 and then reversed. I almost was looking to get puts on MDB, but the call action just kind of kept me away. And then it reversed and closed. I think it closed at 349. So that's definitely a name I'll look for hedges. So that's the markets. Let's see if I can pull up here. So where do we have it here? Okay. So added some more DELL strikes today. I was looking on Friday. I was actually looking at the 155s. And, I passed on Friday because you didn't know what was going to happen over the weekend. And then today it starts melting higher, 118, 119 out of the gate. Then, by 10 o'clock it's into the 120s. So I went and added some more May strikes, lower strikes. I tend not to average down. I still have some 165. Still plenty of time on the Mays. I put on the watch list this morning. It seems like higher highs and higher lows. So as long as that trend continues, I think it heads 125, then 130, so on and so forth. And I think it hasn't moved quite as much as some of these other names. So I think there's plenty of room for upside. So love DELL. I'll continue to look for strikes to trade DELL for move into the all-time, back over 136 and then into the 140, so on and so forth. I put AVAV on the watch list. Look at the tight Bollinger Bands. Let's see if I can. I posted this chart before, but I always talk about the Bollinger Band. It's one of my favorite indicators. Once this tug of war resolves, there's going to be a huge move. You would think with all the attention on drones these days that AVAV would be up more than where it is right now. It's barely in the green. I think it breaks it back over 160. So I'll continue to look for that. It's just not moving much here today. It went down to 146, 145 this morning, bounced back up to 148. Have to think at some point there's going to be some upgrades. They have a huge backlog. The things with drones are only going to gain more attention, especially for a company like AVAV. They already have U.S. contracts. They've got some contracts in Europe. Unfortunately, it's it's a war play, right? It's you don't like to make money on blood money, but sometimes it's also a deterrent, right? If you have a large a lot of drones to defend yourself or whatever, it's a deterrent for someone to attack you. So I still love AVAV for upside. At some point I'll look for calls. It's just a little tough here with the market bouncing around. It might fall just even with the market. So I don't want to, if the market's finding trouble finding support here today, it makes it tough to add to calls. But we'll continue to look for that one. Netflix, I put this on the watch list too. They report earnings Thursday. I think it's Thursday after the close. Is that right? Let's see. Thursday after the close. Typically, they used to report Wednesday Tuesday or Wednesday after the close. So it's odd for them to report on a Thursday. But you take a look at the implied move right now, $52.46 is the implied move, and it's at 6. Let's see if I can do the math really quick. 52, right, 52.45. 66 now. It's moving around. And it's at 620.66. So you're talking an 8.45% implied move, and you start looking at some of these options, and I don't, as much as I think if a good report maybe goes higher, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. You start looking at some of the calls that are out of money, $700 calls, which expire on Friday. They're $395 by 415. So you're talking a 13% move or so just for those to probably be flat or a little bit green, especially if it's a Thursday. So unless it ramps higher and you get some premium build, on the flip side, you see it there at 6, it's at 620, the 5-10 puts, if it sells off, we've seen some huge moves on Netflix before in the past. Let's see what the last couple moves were on Netflix. I'm not a Netflix bear by any means. It's one of my favorite stocks over the years. So you take a look at the last couple earnings reports. Last quarter was up 10%. The quarter before it closed up 16%. Down 8% the quarter before, down 3% the quarter before that, which would be this April quarter that we're in now, the first quarter. The April quarter, the year before that, in 2022, the stock closed down 35%. So typically what happens, you have the big buildup with the sub-ads at the end of Q4 with the holidays and what have you, and then you have people cancel, some churn. Maybe, they've already posted, it was a phenomenal quarter last quarter. So maybe there's an opportunity for some downside. If I do get some puts, it'll be very inexpensive or very small position, just a lot of, because if it does sell off, 500 puts look like a decent risk reward there. So don't be surprised if you see me add some puts. Not that I don't believe in the story. I just think there might be an opportunity there. So those are those names. If you saw me post those pictures about manadr. So, I don't, here is at 2058. It was 13 or 14 bucks on Friday. A recent IPO from the Philippines. It's like a $4 million IPO or $9 million. IPO'd at $4. It's running again, no options. But the instant I looked at it, I started looking at the website and something's not right? So how crazy it is that let's see if I can pull it up. Of course, I don't have it on the site, but I posted that they had a typo on their website, right? So their typo said last week said coming soon, COMMING, and now it says COMMING soon, and now it says coming soon. And I mean, someone had to see my tweet. And then there's other issues with their site. There was some of the links that you clicked didn't work. So it's like, maybe I'm wrong, but if it has options at some point, hopefully it soars to $50, gets options, and I'll probably get some puts on it. Just some of the things. They also on their website, I emailed them, and don't ask me why I emailed them, but I did. And I asked them, because it says past collaborations, and it says past collaborations with Fitbit. So Fitbit's owned by Google now. So you go to their site, they have a marketplace, and they sell the Fitbit watch, the products there. So I'm like, does that mean every company that has it is Amazon in collaboration with Fitbit? Is that how that works? And then they also have, it says past collaborations with Abbott. So again, does that mean they have, what does that mean? There's no link, you can't click. There's no click. So all just reeks to me. And then this morning they come out and said, they posted financials. They said, oh, we closed our offering, blah, blah, blah. It's a successful offering. This is a significant achievement. It will provide for growth. And then it says they are the top 41 company on the Financial Times or something, medtech company. It's just a weird press release. What else does it say? It says, and we've jumped our revenues for the year ending June 30th, 2023. So almost a year ago, they're saying their revenues grew 4.5 times, jumping from $1.5 million to $6.7 million. But then you look at their financials, like who's their accountant, because it's unaudited, right? So again, this just reeks of, kind of shadiness. And you look at the CEO and the co-founder or whatever, and they just look like normal doctors. And you go to their profile, you go to their Facebook page, their videos have like 20 views, and they're saying they have 1 million people. You go to their website and it says 1 million people are on their platform. I'm like, what? 100,000 consults per month? Anyway, all right, rants for other days, because obviously I can't make money. It's not worth talking too much about if I can't make money on it, but certainly interesting story. All right, so that's Netflix. That's manadr. Who else we have here? Not much here to say about some of the pot names, which ACB is almost catching CGC here. So we'll see how long that lasts for. But CGC was off. Well, it's only off 5% now. It went all the way down to 713. Still love these names for upside. I mean, you look at what's going on. Eventually, they're going to reschedule cannabis. Once that happens, I mean, I think some of it's already baked in, but I think it's just going to be continue to add the bull case to some of these names. And unfortunately, look at CGC. It's down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight days to the downside. It won't take much for it to run, so hopefully that gets going. On the flip side, you look at ACB. It almost looks like a bull flag here. So you have this run up here, some consolidation, and then the next leg. I wouldn't be surprised to see ACB trading higher than CGC at some point this week. Not much here to add about Cardlytics. It was actually green for a little bit, then all the way down to 13 and bounced again. They'll report earnings at the start of May, so at some point I'll look to get some calls to encompass May. What else to say about Riley? Again, I've done my due diligence on Riley. I don't think it's the most perfect company. They have some issues. Of course, they haven't filed their end-of-year report, so that's an issue. But they did post unaudited financials and said, we are not able to file right now based on some of these situations they have going on, but we do not expect any material impact to our earnings. We think they're going to be the same. So still waiting on that 10K. If I wouldn't be surprised if there's some issues in it, but I just look at it. I mean, there's huge. I talked about this last week on one of the rants. There's an insane amount of options expiring this week. So I don't know if these were sold. If someone's long and they sold these puts to open, and then they're going to close them out. So maybe the premiums went up. I could go back and check. But if you look at the Riley puts that expire on Friday, I said this last week. If you go, there's 10 from the $20 strikes, 10,000. The 1750s has 12,000. The 15s have 23,000. And those are, the bid and ask is 10 cents by 15 cents now. And they're down 37% today. So I don't know if someone went out and they sold to open. I don't know. Can you sell puts when you're short? How does it, so I said I was going to look into this. I haven't yet, but you have to think they're trying to get it under 20 bucks at least. Maybe if they don't, it sets it off. I don't know, but I'll continue to look for opportunities on Riley. I'll probably just hold what I have for now until Friday and go from there. And that's it. Yeah, earnings this week. Disappointing last week. S&P had recouped all the gains Thursday. I thought it was going to be a great end of week, and then the market just sold off. And it wasn't even like the triple-headed monster. Yields, oil, and the dollar were all down on Friday. So it wasn't like yields spiked or anything like that. Today, different story. The only thing, and I pointed out as well, is the VIX. The VIX, it was like people were preparing for World War III on Friday. The market wasn't anywhere close to where it was on Wednesday, and the VIX was up 20% and 25%. So, big spike Friday, and then it was green for a little bit here today. It's at 17. Hopefully, we'll see if we can just hold back under 512.50 on the SPY. Hopefully, we can find some footing here and close at least in the green on the SPY today and start working things back to 513, 514, if not higher this week. So that's it, folks. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.